It is wild card week in the NFL, Brett, and we are sitting here with 6 games. I love this format. I hope they keep this format. I like having 3 and 3. I like more football is better for us, obviously. More football is better for betting, for DFS, for the whole 9 yards, which, by the way, I should say congrats on your nice little DFS win this week as well. Very small investment with a very large return. So, I didn't quite have the return you did. Had a decent little week myself, but you were able to crush it this week.
Yeah, thank you to Jerry Jeudy. Well, actually, I think I made that call on the podcast on Friday that I was going to have all the Jerry Jeudy this week, and I did, and he ripped off that 92-yard touchdown, which made me some money this week, so that was nice.
Yeah, that was a saver for me on a couple of lineups as well. I actually had a game stack in that one, and it was able to get me there, so I was pretty happy about that. So as we start off on Saturday, like we said, it is the Colts at the Bills. This will be your first game on Saturday. We are sitting right now 6.5 at DraftKings. We are sitting 6.5 at FanDuel, 6.5 points bet, 7 over at BetMGM. The total is 52 across the board, except over at PointsBet, 51.5 right there. Rams and Seahawks is 4.5 across the board, and that is at all books. 42.5 your total across the board at all books. Bucs and the football team will be your last game on Saturday. That is at 8:15 Eastern time. The Bucs are currently 8.5 point favorites, depending on where you look. 8 at DraftKings, 8.5 at FanDuel, 8 at PointsBet, and 8 at MGM. 45.5 is your total across the board. There is one rogue, 46.5 over at MGM. Early week thoughts here, Brett, on these games, on these lines, on these numbers, on these totals, as we try to, we talk about get in early in the week. We just said that. So if somebody wanted to get in early, does anything jump out to you, at least on these Saturday games?
I mean, if you wanted to make some money this week, you needed to get in really early, because some of these openers, I saw Sunday night at PointsBet, some of these openers were mind-boggling. They opened Bills minus 4.5. That moved to 6.5 so fast. That was a shocking one. The Ravens, they opened at minus 1.5. That moved to 3.5. I mean, we're talking like 2 and through key numbers here that these lines moved to. So, that's one thing. If you have a strong position on a team, watch out for these openers, because you won't be able to get a lot of money down, but there's definitely some opportunity. But that was my first takeaway, is that some of these numbers that were just so far off where they're going to close that there was opportunity right away.
The Sunday games, Ravens and the Titans, as you mentioned, Ravens 3.5 point favorites across the board now. 54.5 or 55 is your total. The 55 being over at PointsBet. Bears and Saints, we have the Saints as now 9.5 or 10 point favorites out there right now. 47.5 or 48 being your total in this one, depending on where you look. The 48 over at PointsBet, the 10 over at PointsBet as well. There's a 10 at BetMGM. And then the Browns and the Steelers will be your 8:15 Eastern game. That is 4.5 in favor of the Steelers. There's a 4 at MGM and at FanDuel as well. 46.5 or 47. The 47 again being over at PointsBet. They are always a half point higher on all of these totals over at PointsBet. So it seems like they want to take a position, try to draw some action to you over there. I think my early week take is this, Brett. If you are a teaser player, I like the Bills and the Bucs in a teaser. I would probably consider the Bills and the Saints, though it's not your traditional teaser of getting it down through the 3, but you are getting it down to 3.5. It's again non-traditional, but if you wanted to play teasers, I think those are the couple of ways that you could go about this. If you do want to play a teaser on the Bucs, I think my only advice would be to go ahead and get that in, because we know how news works with these spreads, Brett, and I have a feeling that when Mike Evans is ruled officially in, because the word out of Tampa is that he just has a hyperextension on the knee and that he should be able to play. And once they come out and say that he is officially in, I think this is going to move out of the teaser territory where you can get it through the 3. I think that these eights move to nines, these 8.5s moves to 9.5s, and then at that point you're not getting it under the 3, under the field goal. So my biggest advice, if you do want to play that teaser and you do want to play that leg of the teaser, would be to just go ahead and get it in your account, even if you want to make it for a little bit smaller, and you can add on later if you want to do that. But it looks as if Mike Evans is going to play, and we have seen these lines move on these injury news once they become official this year. It's the craziest thing. Like, you can find this information like throughout the course of the week, but we're seeing the lines move once everything becomes official. And so I think it's sitting right now at 8.5, moves to 9.5 once that news comes out. So you might want to jump on it now.
Yeah, I like that advice.
Do you like any of these games as it sits right now early in the week? Do you have, let's put it this way. If you had to bet one of the sides or totals on Saturday and one of the sides or totals on Sunday, which game would you be looking at?
Initially, I'm looking at the Los Angeles Rams plus, what's that number right now? Is it
4.5?
4.5? Yes, because I don't think there is much difference between a Jared Goff and a John Wolford in the betting market. So that's my take on that. I think the Rams are for real. And I loved him this past week. It's my favorite play this past week was Wolford against the Cardinals. Granted, we got a little lucky there because Kyler Murray didn't play for much of the game, but I thought Wolford looked fine. He's playing behind that offensive line that schemes protection and moves mountains for the run game. So I kind of like John Wolford if he gets the start. We'll have to keep an eye on that. I don't think Goff's going to go this week, is he?
I don't think he is. It seems like it would be negative EV for him to go. Like, I don't know much. Like, I've never spent 1 second in medical school, but it seems like a broken thumb on your throwing hand would be bad to try and play with. Yeah, just my guess.
So yeah. That's my initial one. Not surprising. I am a lover of backup quarterbacks against the market. So, John Wolford in the playoffs is my initial lean right now.
What about on Sunday? Any of the Ravens, Titans, Bears, Saints, or Browns, Steelers? If you had to play one side or total in that one, what would you go with?
I don't know yet. Wait, see, I thought Rams isn't Sunday?
No, that's on Saturday.
That's on Saturday?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not sure yet. I'll have a much stronger opinion on Friday when we look these over at length, but I'm not sure about that one yet.
If the Saints, which it does look like, if the Saints get cleared with Alvin Kamara and Latavius Murray and also get Michael Thomas back, I understand it's tough in today's NFL to lay double digits, or, I guess there's 9.5s out there, but this Saints team is head and shoulders superior to this Bears team. And this defense is going to make, look, we saw what the Packers defense made Mitchell Trubisky look like this past week, and now amplify that by 5 because the Saints defense is that much better than what the Packers defense is. I think I'd be looking, if I had to play just a straight side on Sunday, I would probably just lay the 9.5 with the Saints.
You don't think we're going to see any Bears steam again this week? What the hell was that?
What was that? Hey, listen. Hey, that was the greatest gift to me on the face of the planet. Like, they kept moving the line, which forced me to continue to bet it over and over again. Like, they went from me having a nice win into having an awesome win on that game because it just kept coming in over and over and over again. I have no idea. No clue whatsoever. That thing hit 3.5 at one point.
Yeah. It's one of the most baffling lines of the year for me. Because I was talking about this thing should close at 7. And then it's moving the other way.
Yeah.
Late. Yeah. So I couldn't wrap my head around that at all. And of course, Green Bay wins easily because of course they do. I don't get that.
What do we think about a 4.5 point favorite of the Steelers against the Browns? Listen, I know we can throw out what we saw this past week, and the Steelers come back with, most of their players and whatnot. But so we're seeing a 14-point swing in the line from, Big Ben being out there, TJ Watt being back out there, Hayward being back out there. A lot of key players coming back, but too much or right about right?
I think the Browns stink. So I think...
what definitely stinks is that Browns defense.
this team is not good at football. Like it's amazing they are where they are. When you look at the metrics, you look at their point differential for the season. How is this team in the playoffs? And I don't think that's baked into the market like it should be right now. So I think we're seeing that in the market right now. The line is climbing. It's opened 4, dropped to 3.5. Now it's climbing back up again with Ben back under center. I mean, the Steelers' offense stinks too, but they have this elite defense. So at least they have a strength. I think it's time to sell the Browns officially. Like, this is it.
Yeah, a flat 4 seems interesting to me on the Steelers. There is low key maybe only 3 or 4 defenses worse in the NFL than the Browns, and the numbers would bear that out too. If we wouldn't have had 2 games that were completely wiped out by weather. So 2 whole games where teams couldn't just light this defense up again to where we would be going, wow, this defense is terrible. Like, think if there were 2 more games where they had given up 500 yards and 30 points or whatever, like we would be like, wow, this team sucks. Like, this defense is terrible. But, just the weather with 40-mile-an-hour winds, it just wasn't going to happen. So there were 2 games where this defense got off the hook. But, man, it is legitimately right down there with some of the very worst defenses in all of the NFL.
In a must-win game on Sunday, they allowed 6.1 yards per play to Mason Rudolph and the Steelers offense. They're not. Yeah, they are really bad. Mason Rudolph went for 309 through the air.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like this, I think the flat 4 is a very interesting number to me. And I know the Steelers don't inspire a bunch of enthusiasm. There's no doubt about that. I mean, that offense, like you said, it definitely stinks. But you don't have to be that good to beat up on this Browns defense. And so initial lean there to the flat 4. We'll talk about all of these games in depth on Friday, so be sure and tune in. We'll have all the written breakdowns on the games as well over at the Lines and at Play Picks. Brett, the early splits from DraftKings, Bills getting all of the handle and bets on the 7.
Well, they hung a bad line. I mean, that's part of it.
Yeah, that's true. The Rams and Seahawks actually pretty split, almost 50-50 actually on the handle as far as that spread of 4.5. The Bucks and the football team, no surprise here. The Bucks taking all of the money. The football team did nothing to inspire in front of the entire nation on Sunday night. Ravens and Titans, about 50-50 split here. So people are either liking the Ravens or liking the 3.5 there from the Titans. As far as that one, the Bears and the Saints, about a 60-40 split, which is pretty interesting to me, Brett. There are a lot of people who think that maybe that 9.5 is too much to be catching with the Chicago Bears, and the Browns and Steelers almost 50-50 there as well, split on that 4. So we're going to have a bunch of action on both sides, it seems, for the majority of these games. Only 2 games where it's really lopsided betting right now. So it'll be fun to see how these lines kind of toggle back and forth, because it seems like we're going to have some resistance points on both sides, and these numbers could continually move basically, a lot throughout the week.
Yeah, interesting. We've got some numbers here that are kind of in that dead zone too. So
we'll
see a lot of moving back and forth between the 8.5, 9.5, 7.5 areas.
So the Super Bowl odds, not really much of a shocker. All of the teams that you would expect to be at the top are at the top, and then the teams where you don't expect. The Chiefs plus 225, they get the bye. Packers plus 450, they get the bye. Baked into that line is the fact that they get a free win, obviously, with the bye. So now it's Bills 7-1, Saints 7.5-1. Then we get into double digits real quick. Bucks 10-1, Ravens 11-1, Seahawks 13-1, Steelers 22-1, Titans 28-1, Rams 33-1, Colts 40, Browns 50, Bears 100, and football team 100. I think the football team and the Bears are priced appropriately, probably the Browns as well. Tough to back that Titans team with that porous defense, another low-key, horrible defense that just gets bailed out by a really good offense. If you had to bet one of these, let's just say, 1, does anything jump off the page to you? 2, if you had to bet one, which one would you go with?
Are we talking long shots?
I mean, whatever. No, let's just say if you had to bet one, like you were gonna put your hard-earned money down on one of these.
Okay, so I'm looking at. I think there are three teams that pose a legit threat to Kansas City right now. One is the Bills, and then in the NFC, the Bucks and the Packers. And the best price I can find out of those is the Bucks at plus 1,000. I think the ceiling for the Bucks is a Super Bowl title. I think they have enough on offense and defense. They are so explosive at wide receiver, and Tom Brady's developed chemistry with all of these guys now. They look good again. It's been Jekyll and Hyde all year, but they look good again. And I think I think the Bucs are the team that come out of the NFC. They've got a pretty easy path to get there facing Washington in the first round. So that would be my bet. Buccaneers plus 1,000 to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, pretty interesting to me whenever we look. I mean, how things have changed where we view the Saints team strictly. I mean, look, you got a 41-year-old quarterback with 11 broken ribs, and it's real tough at that point. And a star wide receiver who they had to put on IR because he couldn't stay healthy all season long. I mean, what are we even going to get from Michael Thomas whenever he comes back? We don't even know that, what we're actually going to get from him. And so if you're talking dump offs to Alvin Kamara all day long, that'll win you maybe a game. I don't think that gets you through to the Super Bowl. So yeah, I'm kind of with you there on the Saints. And all of these other teams just have gigantic warts that are just too hard to ignore. I mean, the Ravens, again, we talk about this time and time again. I mean, if they don't get out to a lead, it's just very tough for them to play from behind. And, do you really think they're going to come out and just put it on the Chiefs or the Bills? Probably not. So
they can't beat KC. They cannot beat KC. That's it. That's why I can't, I love the way they're playing football right now, but when you match them up with that offense, they don't stand a chance.
And you go to these other teams. I mean, the Steelers, we just talked about it. Horrible offense. You go down to the Titans. One of the worst defenses you're ever going to see, out there. Rams don't have a quarterback. You get down to the Colts. What in the hell is up with this Colts team? It's like every game they give you 20 minutes where you're like, wow, this team could win the Super Bowl. And then the other 40 minutes of the game, you're sitting there scratching your head going, how the hell did this team even win any games? I don't even know what I get in this Colts team from week to week.
They're just mediocre. There's nothing exciting about this team. They're just, offensively. I mean, defensively, they were rated near the top of the league metrically, and then as we expected, they kind of fell off, and then they kind of are who we thought they were. And the offense is especially now with Costanzo out, that's a huge piece. They've kind of been restructuring this offensive line. That's where their strength is on this offensive side of the ball. I don't think the Colts get very far in this.
No. You want to talk about a team that needs to make a move for a quarterback?
Yeah.
There's too much talent on that team to just piss that away. They need to make a move, and they need to make a move quick. We talked about it with the Browns. Yeah, 50-1. Look, no defense whatsoever. They're no chance. Bears can't score. No chance at 100-1. And the Washington football team, as we know, maybe one of the worst teams to ever get into the playoffs in NFL history. So, nothing there. No surprise, Chiefs drawing the majority of the handle as far as the Super Bowl. As far as the Super Bowl pool goes over at DraftKings, the Bucks are next at 12%, Bills at 9%, Packers at 8%, Ravens and Steelers both at 7%, Saints at 5%, Seahawks at 5%, and then the Titans at 3% as far as
these
the
splits
playoff
are
teams.
for the whole season, right?
Right.
I think these are for the whole season. So this is interesting because the Bucs were the popular team before the season started. They were getting all the Super Bowl handle early on.
Yeah.
So that they've fallen quite a bit. I think. Obviously the Bills have taken a lot of action through the season. The Packers have taken a lot of action through the season as well, and the Steelers too. But the Bucs have they're still there at number 2 overall, but they've definitely fallen. So I think people have fallen out of love with the Buccaneers through the season.